because Stephen, so we started back in October, I think, of 2017. We first met, kind of you were just moving into the business at that time. And one of the things I always say is you were the first person that took a chance on this little Leads Academy thing that Fisher and I, we had moved from Loan Officer Acceleration to Leads Academy at that point. And you kind of jumped on board, and you were our first success story. And I'd love to take all the credit for it, even though all I did was say, hey, why don't you try this? You're like, okay. And you went and knocked it out. So, but man, it's a pleasure to watch you grow, to see where you've come from, to have a small piece of you getting started on this. And we're really grateful that you're here joining us, because I know there's a lot of people right now that came into this industry over the last 18 months or so, that don't know what's getting ready to happen, right? That don't know where their business is going to be coming from. And I think that's one of the reasons why Fish wanted you on here, to kind of talk about your story, what you did, where you were, and how you got to where you are now in really such a short period of time. So, man, I appreciate you being here. If you don't mind, just giving us kind of your, the legend of Stephen Roberts, kind of where you started with this whole thing.
Man, you guys really eat it up. So I just follow I guess they always tell you got to be coachable, right? So whenever I saw you doing what you were doing, I said, well, I don't know what the heck I'm doing, so I'm just gonna implement. So one of the first words that I heard from TJ and Fish that always stuck with me in my young career was take imperfect action. And what that meant to me was, you may not know how to do it, you may not know the right way to do it, you're probably going to mess up, and you're going to learn from your failures. But as long as you wake up every day and you just take imperfect action, it's going to be all right. And it's going to be the long game. It's not going to be the short game. And I think so many times we'll try social media or Instagram or TikTok or Insta stories or video or leads or, all the different things, pay for advertising, pay for Zillow. And you try it for a month, and then you're not successful, and then you quit and you go on to something else, the next shiny object. And, I think everyone probably realizes that it is the long game, but it's also consistency. So just to give you a background, to start from the beginning, I was in the car business for 12 years, and not to my choosing, but to sell and get out. So, and so I moved into a completely new market in Austin, did not go to high school here, knew very few friends from college, and hired by a bank, base salary, $60,000, walked in, they gave me an office, threw me the guideline books and said, good luck. And I said, okay. And I started calling my sphere, my friends, and reaching out to everybody on Facebook and LinkedIn. 6 months later, I think I got one lead. And I blew through 50,000 cash, 4 kids, crying in my car. And I was reading Loan Officer Millionaire, and I was watching podcasts and Facebook. And the problem with our industry, there's no direction, and nobody tells you how to do it. We can talk about scenarios and guidelines, but you how to be successful. And it was at that point that I realized that I can learn every scenario. I can be a VA expert. I can be I can be a jumbo. I can be I was a credit rescore king. I could take somebody with no credit and get them down payment assistance. That's a great career you should chase. But I realized real quickly that you could be an expert at everything and all the guidelines, and unless you figure out how to be a marketer, you're going to be broke. And I realized that, and I don't know if I think got me, or it may have been Mortgage Marketing Animals going, but they said you have to wake up every day and view yourself as a marketer. And so what that means is different for everybody, but don't wake up and say I'm an officer, because you're never going to get a loan officer. You got to figure out how to market yourself. And so from that point on, every day became about, how do I brand myself and not the company? And how do I become known to everybody? So that's where it started. So I will start there. I joined Leads Academy, Mortgage Marketing Animals. TJ and I were the core. We had some core training. Leads Academy, Marketing Animals, they're all very similar. But what I learned with Marketing Animals was that you have to get a list of the agents in your area, and you have to identify who target audience is. That's the first and foremost. You could have the greatest content in the world, but if you're speaking to no one, it's going to fall on deaf ears. So you have to get the list, and you have to, you have Zillow, you can get it from title companies, there's a lot of different ways to find out who the realtors are in your areas. But I sat down, actually, I paid a virtual assistant. You can get on Fiverr. There's a lot of different ways you can do it. I hired a $5 an hour Filipino guy to spend, and TJ actually split it with me. We were paying, I think, 500 a month. It's $5 an hour.
Yep. For Paulo.
Yeah. And all we did was, let me tell you the strategy. This is actually a great strategy. Hire a virtual assistant for $5 an hour to do what you won't do. Okay, let's don't say that do what you can't do, but do what you won't do. And you're going to procrastinate and you'll never do it. So it was $200 a week for us. And I think I did it for 2 years. And what that guy did was he took my list and he friend requested on Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, and 50 Facebook messages a day. He called for 4 hours using my freedom dialer is what they call it. I think it was a phone burner is what you and I did.
Yep.
If he didn't get them on the phone, he would voicemail drop them and then say he gets from us. And then, we would text message and email. Now there's other technology out there. But it was consistent. It was, I wasn't going to do it for 3 months, 6 months, 9 months. So Paulo did all that, and you're building your brand and your target audience. And you're with the whole idea that you're trying to set a face-to-face meeting. I'm of the belief that in this business, you have to, number one, you have to have the social proof. You have to have friends. I have 5,000 friends on Facebook. I'm trying to get there on Instagram. I'm going on to TikTok. That's what we have to do in COVID. There is no other way to meet people other than social media. That's the way you have to do it.
Oh, hey, by the way, we have TikTok ads training coming out in Lola. In the next month or so. So you have to make sure you log back in and check that out.
Yeah, I will. And you'd be amazed. Like I get my daughter to teach me crazy dances. I'll do reels. I mean, I'll do all kinds of stuff. And you just make a fool out of yourself, but it'll get known. But no, so after you get this list and you friend them on all these different platforms, now you've got your audience. Now you got to create your content. Right. And so through this, you've got branding. And you've got reviews on your Facebook page and your Google page. And so they're going to go check you out and say, I see this guy all over the place. I'm going to go see if anybody likes him. Reviews say they like him. So you got to have the reviews to back. People are trying to figure out a way to know, like, trust you. If they don't know, like, and trust you, they will not send you a lead. I've had people that have been like, hey, I've been checking you out for like 2 years and I've been seeing all your content and I'm going to give you. And I'm like, oh, okay. I started hearing that more and more. And I started realizing, yeah, if you're thinking that social media happens over 6 months, it's literally 2 years and it takes a long time. So I will skip to that and I will say, so we developed this plan where they were going and Facebooking and messaging and emailing and texting. If y'all haven't heard of GMass on Gmail, there's a Chrome extension. It's free. You can download it. You can upload a CSV file of 15,000 agents with emails. And you can really create an email in a matter of minutes and send out one email to 15,000 agents, and it's going to come as an individual email. That's GMass.
That's cool.
You can do. I have Agent Legend now. I can upload on Friday. I send an update or an industry like, hey, we're doing 10%. We're doing 10% down. Hey, we're doing, this and that. Or hey, get a HELOC to tap into your equity to buy an investment. Or don't wait to sell to buy. Get a HELOC for your down payment. Use future rental income. We a text message on Friday. Hey, I'm available on the weekend, and I'll send out one text. And it'll go out to 500 agents as an individual text on Agent Legend. With an industry, and without a doubt, we'll get 3 contracts from that on the weekend. But I couldn't do that without what I told y'all before. You have to have the target audience. You have to have the proof. You have to have because people don't trust you unless they see you on there over and over and over again. So if I'm talking to the new person, I'm saying you got to start with the list. You got to, if I would hire an assistant to do what you won't do, and literally text, email, call until they are willing to meet you for coffee. Now, the core and the marketing animals will tell you to do it. And that's fine. And you have to knock down your little soldiers and get all your calls and get to your 10 no's so you get your yeses. I'm weak when it comes to call. I hate being told no. Okay. So I decided that I hate rejection. So I'm just going to have somebody else get rejected. and so I paid somebody else to get rejected. And, you know, maybe it didn't work quite as well, but I did it for 2 years. And so after 2 years, I had somebody sending me a business. You know, in the last 2 days, we got 20 leads and 15 pre-approvals and 7 contracts. I have 5 assistants now, and I can't even with the business we're doing.
So let's hold on right here. Because I want to go back because you're
real quick. TJ, Steven, is there a way to change your reverb at all on your microphone? It's kind of, I don't know if your settings or what have you, but
move it closer. Let me see if that works. Do you not hear me very well?
We can hear you. There's just an echo, and I think it's.
Is that better having it right there, or should I get on the phone?
That's a little better right there. Yeah.
You're good, man. You're good.
Yeah.
So let's circle back around because obviously you've achieved, you know, over the last 4 going on 5 years now, it's a pretty high level of success. But it all started with you, and you said you got 1 lead in your first 6 months. I think you had closed 1 deal in your first 6 months in the industry, right? And then, you know, after that, you were averaging over $2 million per month. But it all goes back to just taking that massive action. And for you, it started with Facebook groups, right? You were working Facebook groups and putting content out there and going back to that consistency that you were talking about, even though you weren't getting contracts right away. What you were doing is you're just every day you're putting 2 to 3 to 4 things into your Facebook group that was full with local agents. So they got to know you. And then when you started making the calls or having someone make the calls for you, all of a sudden they're like, oh yeah, I know Steven. I see his stuff all the time.
You're not a stranger. Yeah
right.
Exactly.
And that was, I mean, you built the foundation for your business basically on a free Facebook group the free Facebook group. The cost was your time. And then $500 a month for someone to make phone calls for you. Right. And that allowed you now to segment who you were prospecting by, you know, because your VA Paulo was able to say, hey, you've got this person to speak to. And, you know, if it took him 30 people to get you 2, that's fine. Because you had those 2. If you had 2 a day, that means you're having 10 a week, right? If you're 10 a week, you're having 40 a month, and you're a good enough salesman that 40 a month is going to turn into, you know, 5 to 7 to 10 people that want to send you business, right?
Yeah, I think that's a good point. So yeah, our VA guy was friend requesting people for us. He was dropping them and sending them invites to invite them into our group. So yeah, let's talk about the group for a second. So that was from your Leads Academy. And it's probably my favorite thing, and it made the most of me because it's hyper-focused marketing. It's a target audience. It's a captive audience. Right. So imagine, guys, all these other groups you're in, you're one of hundreds of loan officers that they're trying to their attention. But once you have to friend request them first, and then you have to invite them into your closed group. But when you invite them into that closed group, you're the only lender in that group. You control the content, you control the messaging, you become the hero. You become, the hero of your own story. You become the industry expert, become the save the day guy that promotes stories. You can be the funny gift guy like Fish. Or you can just be a funny meme guy too, you know? Yeah,
just
funny
every
meme
once
guy.
in a while, mix it up.
Yeah, you don't. That I have learned is Fish. I'll take stuff from Fish's group. I'll take stuff from Leads Academy. So I'll use industry knowledge with funny, with save the day. The problem that I see with a lot of people is they want to talk about programs, and that falls on deaf ears. And it's like you're not relatable when you do that. In my opinion, I want to see what your family. I want to see you play hockey. I want to see you play baseball. Where do you go to vacation? Where do you go to dinners? That's a lot of people. They don't want to put it on personal social media because they don't want people to see their personal lives. Well, how are they going to like it? They don't know who you are, and they don't know who your personal lives are. put everything on your personal page. Your business page does not rank. It does not rank at all. And it has to be on your personal page. You have to friend request them, and then you have to add them to your group. And then in the group, TJ and Fish, what I've done recently is familiar with the BNI concept, right? Everybody has to refer your business. Okay. Well, I've said, why can't agent acceleration be a BNI, a mini BNI, right? So you invite your inspector, your roof contractor, your home warranty, your insurance, your title. So I've gone to these people in the area and said, look, I'm gonna be my title sponsor. You're gonna be my insurance. You're gonna be my inspector. And here's how you can stay in my group. You are responsible for posting one post a week. Now, if you don't, you're no title sponsor. You're no longer my inspector, no longer my home warranty. It's free to be inside my group. There's 1,300 agents, but in order to stay, you have to create content and value. And so it does a lot of things. I'm going to refer them warranty work, insurance, title, blah, blah, blah. But they have to give me content so that I can create value for my agents so that they send me leads. And it's a circle of trust. So that's something that I've added to the agent acceleration recently. And I really like that. It's kind of like a mini BNI within a closed Facebook group.
Yeah, no, that's really smart.
I have a quick question, Stephen, and I think it's really relevant to the groups. Are you using those groups to drive people to webinars or events or realtor social hours and things that you're doing?
Yeah, that's a good. So Fish, you're real good at doing what we're doing right here, right? So this right here needs to be inside the group. I need to be interviewing experts in the group live streaming. That's my next step. My next step is so I created the friends, I added them to the group. I created the mini BNI with all the industry experts. Now next step is interviewing. I've been live streaming myself. I have not been interviewing people, but we recently had an event. I spent $6,500, way more than I wanted to. We gave away a trip to Florida. We had like 50 realtors show up. And it was all promoted in two that I'm in, and it's a lot of money, but I gotta tell you, it's we got a lot of deals out of it. So moving on, what I would say, so the group is a very awesome concept. And so, like I said, it's hyper focused, target audience, captive audience. I would do every group. I mean, interview, expert, leads. That's where you're gonna get everything. So what I would say, let's see here. Let's move on to something else. What do you think, TJ? You asked me a question.
Yeah, no. I think one of the things that, again, because I really want to hammer it to the loan officers who came in during the refi boom and who never took advantage of or didn't take the time to build those relationships. And something, I feel for them because that was me. I joined this industry in a refi boom, right? So the subprime, and we were afraid to do purchases at the time. I'm fortunate enough now to work, on 90+% of my business is purchase, right? So the concept, and it's not as easy. When you and I started doing the Facebook groups, all you had to do was grab somebody, make a friend, and you could add them into a Facebook group without permission. That was awesome, right? Yeah. So now you do need to invite them. You do need to send out, friend them, engage with their content on their pages so they get to know you, send them a message, inviting them to a group on there so people aren't afraid when just say, hey, something, we go over some great content, we share information, what's going on in the industry, give away leads, whatever it is to get people in there. But once you have that in there, leverage that every single day. Do lives like this. Right. As you just said, interview people, get people in different industries on there. And to the point where when you send a Facebook message to an agent, they're engaging with you. So the hardest thing for me, Stephen, I know for you, because we went down this road together, not necessarily for Fish, but Fish can say, TJ, I guarantee you'll make 7 figures in 2022. All you need to do is cold call 40 agents every Monday and invite them to coffee. And I'm going to sit there and say, six figures is good, man. Like, I'm not going to do it, right? I'm not going to do it. But I'll warm call 40 agents, and to me, a warm call is someone who knows me. So someone's like, oh yeah, man, how's it going? I saw you at the barbecue festival. Hey, I saw that video you did the other day on the real estate report card type of thing. That's easy. And then you have those sales conversations. So we had a guy, Leads Academy guy, came to me. This was 2020, right at the start of the pandemic. It was almost a Stephen Roberts story. Again, he was like, man, I'm thinking about getting out of the business. I've done all my, I'm going through my savings. I showed him, the videos we had done with you back in 2018 and 2019 about starting the groups, and the groups were completely different at the time. And he ran with it. And next thing you know, he built a network of 50, 60, 70 plus agents who he could call on and ask for business. His name's Josh Luzzi. So,
I know Josh. I'm in his group. Yeah.
And he's gone off on a completely different
path.
He took
it another level.
Yeah, a whole new level. Like, they're doing like stuff across the country now.
Yeah.
But it all started with building a brand, right? Giving away content, the giver's gain mentality. But the biggest mistake that everybody else makes, you didn't make this, Josh didn't make this, Fish doesn't make this mistake, is they follow up with people after. After creating the groups, after creating the brand. So that's what I'm trying to hammer into this is you can't just be make a Facebook group, start writing business. It's not just start sending out text messages and emails, start writing business. It's a cumulative effect of doing all these things.
TJ, can I share one of my number one group strategies that I use in MLO in my agent groups and my local community groups and all that kind of stuff?
Yeah.
When I post content and people engage on it, this is the simplest thing in the world. I mean, like, I like and comment in the community, but I also message them. And, I just, whatever the heck it is, I try to figure out how they know them. And sometimes it's just as simple as like, hey, haven't seen you in a long time. Hope to see you soon. Or, hey, we've been Facebook friends for a while. Hopefully I get a chance to meet you face to face one of these days. It's that simple. By doing that, it just moves the relationship along a little bit. It's just a minute or two of my time. And ultimately, when I make posts on my personal page or in my groups or whatever, these people now see me even more. They see my brand more because I've started interacting with them. That's like one of my number one, quote unquote, secrets. When I go in like an LO group and I post stuff, you'll see there's, in some cases, 20, 30, 50, 100 interactions. And it's because I'm talking to these LOs. I'm genuinely want to help them. In my case, I have a passion for helping them be better at VA loans, but it's just building those connections and then using social media like social media wants you to use it. They want you to use their platform. They like it when you engage on their platform. So I say, fine, I'll use your little messenger app. I'm gonna use your platform to like and comment and share. And hopefully you can help me by pushing my message to the people that are that I want to have relationships or have relationships. So I just wanted to add that because I feel that's so important. I think that's what people miss. I think people think they can be social and build relationships without talking or hiring someone else to talk for them. And I don't think that's the case.
Yeah. And I'll add to that, Fish. So fast forward, and I've got 4 assistants that are just handling the leads, pre-approval stations. And I just hired a 5th guy, and I'm trying to figure out how to do it. And I'll tell you, Fish, what I did inside of this group. I'm in 6,500 agents in one and 1,300 in the other. And Facebook will shut me down at 50 every day, but I get in jail. But essentially I create this, and he just copies and pastes it. He sends out 50 Facebook messages a day to people inside the group with the message, hey, this is who I am. I'd love to meet you face to face. Here's a happy hour we have coming up. Here's a event. I'd love to meet you for coffee. And he started this last week. We have 7 appointments on the books. Some people do Zoom, phone calls. Some people meet for coffee. But he's getting $50 for every appointment that and that's how he gets paid. And we've already got 7 in 2 weeks. And so do the math. You meet with 40 agents over a year. That's 500 agents. You're going to do fine. You only need about 12 to do really well. So, but to me, it's a numbers game. Don't stop at 12, just keep going. So Facebook message is great. After I'm in the group, you create content, you create trust, you do your videos, you do all your things, you share your industry knowledge, you share your save the day stories, and then you Facebook them. And then you try to set the appointment face-to-face event, coffee, and that's where you're gonna lunch. We do a lunch on Fridays. I want to get to face as many people as I can, and I want them to meet my team, and I want to break bread together. And that's the ultimate goal. What do y'all think about that?
Dude, you should be doing taking like advantage of loan officer seminar system, John Thomas's presentations, where you're teaching these classes to agents and just having your team put folks out there or fill the room for you.
Yeah.
And I mean, John does them virtually. We're trying to get back to doing them in person. Just here on the East Coast, we're a little bit more COVID crazy than you guys in Texas and Michigan. But we're trying to get back to doing them a little bit more in person as well. But when you can put like one of the things, and I don't want to say I was critical about this, one of the things that I disagreed with that you did when you started your group, but obviously it worked, was you used to run somebody else teaching a class, right?
Oh yeah.
And then you'd talk about it, like you'd have like a little book discussion about it or something, but it wasn't you. Where if we do the other piece, if you're the one who's teaching the content, all of a sudden you're the expert, right? So if you're teaching the content on database marketing or extreme leads or how to run a P&L in a business or whatever the case is, now you follow up with those agents and they're like, man, Steven, I never knew that I had to have 40 phone calls, 40 great conversations every week if I wanted to make $100,000 a year type of thing. And now you're seen as the expert and the business comes to you at that point. And like I said, it's all, everything that gets done, at least I've been fortunate enough that I've been able to work with a lot of successful loan officers, much more successful than me, two of you included, and been able to learn from them as much as I have taught, right? And helped with lead generation and stuff like that. All of them come down to the same thing though. It's having sales conversations, whether it's by phone, Facebook Messenger, text messenger, carrier pigeon, smoke signals, whatever the case is. And then creating that position of authority, right? Fish with VA loans. The entire state of Michigan. If a VA loan's going south, they pick up the phone and they call Fish, right? Hell, loan officers are the one.
I still do it. I still do it.
Yeah, he's got freaking his competition's calling him up like, Fish, I know that you're my competition and everything, but we got to save this loan for the vet. And of course, Fish does because he's a good guy. But then he swoops in and tries to take the real estate agent. Like, hey, come to me first. But it all comes down to finding a way to get yourself in front of people, building that brand, and then earning the right to ask for the business, right? And you've done it in a way that, like I said, we won't do the 40 calls, but you're still making the contact.
Yeah, and let me piggyback on this. The reason why I did the live classes so what it was a mortgage marketing analyst. Scott Husbeth would do a recording, and it was always Thursday at 11. Mm-hmm. Well, let me just be very clear. There's people on this call that are saying do social media content. I can't create groups. I can't invite people. I can't send 50 messages out on Facebook. I won't do classes. I'm too afraid. I don't want to get on video. So here's what you need to know. If you won't do it, hire somebody to do it. Okay. It's never an acceptable excuse to say, I won't make 40 calls. That's okay if you don't want to make them, but have somebody else make them. If you don't want to send the Facebook messages, pay someone else to do it. If you don't want to put personal content on there, put somebody else, have somebody else do it. So I don't want to Facebook message 50 people now. I don't want to send out 15,000 emails. I send out 15,000 emails. I got Hammer. Tell me the Hammer gentleman's name again, Fish.
Hammer Helmer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
So I signed up with his deal. Fantastic system. I can upload a CSV file, 1,000 agents, and Hammer's going to send them out agent power tips 1 month. And he's also going to, ask all my closed loans for Google reviews and do all these other things. So I'm using him. Here's the point. If you're not going to cold call, to do it. They're $5 an hour. If you're not going to do content, go into Fisher's group or my group and steal the content and share it. It doesn't have to be original content. You can find content in all these different groups. How hard is it to save the picture, copy and paste the content, change it up a little to who you are, and share it? And nobody's going to get mad. If they do, just unfriend them. But there's so much content out there. Steal the content, share it. And I guarantee you, a lot of people in this industry, the pay it forward mentality, there's a lot. I mean, I'll get stuff on Fish's group. I'll show I'm the expert. So you gotta, it's pretty easy to find the content if you'll just go steal it and put it on your page. But anyway, so the classes, if you're not going to do it, share a webinar, share a recording. But yes, ultimately you want your own deal, but this is the imperfect action that I keep talking about. If you're not going to do it, do something. Okay. And I can't stress that word enough because I hear it all the time. I'm too busy. I don't know. I don't know. I mean, I'll hire an assistant one day when I have money. Well, I'll tell you, the best thing I did was hire an assistant. And then when I hired my second one that I didn't think I could afford, I filled up so fast I hired a third. And so it's like every time I asked to do one of these tasks that I didn't want to do, got more business. And then I was able to do what I wanted to do. And so you need to hire an assistant before you're ready to hire an assistant. So hire them to do what you don't want to do. Get yourself out of the business. Figure out what your hourly wage is, right? We talk about that making per hour. If it's less than that, delegate it.
Heck, I just hooked Fisher up with a guy who will get dialers 40 hours a week for $997, $1,000 a month, right? And they'll dial all day long for you, whatever you want. Real estate agents, leads.
Oh, I'll sign up for that today.
All right. Well, I'll connect you. So, but yeah, as we're sitting here, I'm watching my guy going through the lists on my power dialing system, just, in calling old Facebook leads and scheduling appointments because, same thing, so
you have to delegate, guys. You have to figure out, you have to write down your tasks. You have to say, I'm a marketer. I'm not a loan officer. I have to know who's my target audience. Get the list. Facebook, throw them in a group, email them, text them, create content, do that. And then you just go back over again, invite them to meetings, invite them to coffees, invite them to deals. And it's all in that circle. Funny gifts, industry knowledge, closing days. It's the same people over and over again, but you gotta put, anyway, it's, to me, it's not hard, but then you gotta, when you make a lot of money, don't stop there. Go hire Hammer, go hire Agent Legend, go get another guy and pay another guy to sit there and message, pay another guy to sit there, make more face-to-face. Now you can't do any more face-to-face. Guess what I'm doing now? I'm training a development guy to go do more face-to-face because I can't go face-to-face. I mean, and so just to kind of give you a story, I think it was like over 2 years ago, I made president $16 million at CNG. And then I went to work for a broker, and last year or 2020 or 2019, I think it was. What year are we in? Okay, 2020 was 2020 was 52 million. I can't remember the exact units, 184. This last year we went to 84 million for personal production, 236 units, and I finished, within a certain broker. We were number 8 in Texas for personal volume. And I said, and I'm looking at all the guys on Scotsman over 100, and I'm like, I get to 100. And then I realized that I did 16 million in refis. And I'm like, well, I got to replace 16 million plus I got to go up another 16 million to get 100. So that's where I'm at. I'm like, and you know what? The money was great, right? But I've also been in an industry where it was all taken away from me overnight. And I lost everything. After 12 years, I had 100,000 to my name, and I moved into a city, and I didn't know a single soul. And I got down to I think I had $1,000 left, and I realized I was about 6 months from being homeless, And that's when I joined Leads Academy and Marketing Animals. One thing I will tell y'all, if you don't, number one, thrive on failure. Failure is your best friend. Figure out, and you got to have a fear, and you got to wake up every day and realize that if you don't do it, you're gonna fail and you're gonna run out of it. And so failure was not an option for me because I'd already failed and lost everything. So when I was doing all these things, midnight, I mean, I hired a company, LinkedIn messages, and I mean, it was just crazy. I connect with people. So failure, you have to be afraid of failure, and something has to drive you. People talk about their why. It's not necessarily money, it's not necessarily family, but they're afraid. Because if you're comfortable, you need to get uncomfortable.
So I think that's a great segue right there if we're kind of wrapping this up. So we're hitting that 45-minute mark, which is where we try to keep these. So Stephen, let's just say it's all taken away from you again, right? It's all taken away from you again. You decide to pack up the family, move out here to Baltimore, Maryland, and you're going to rebuild your success. Where do you start? What would you do?
I call a title rep and I get a list of all the local agents. I get on Zillow and I download it to an Excel CSV file. That's my number one thing. From there, I email, I text, I call. If I won't call, I hire somebody to do it. If I won't text, I hire somebody to do it. If I didn't have any money, I'd work from 5 a.m. to midnight, and I would make as many appointments face-to-face as I could. And I would connect to as many people on all platforms as possible. I would send out as many messages until I was in jail on all platforms. And until I know that if I get face-to-face with that many people, I will get leads.
Yep. Yeah.
Anything short of that, and you're not working. I'll tell you right now, if you're sitting here right now working on your loans and you don't have thousands of friends on all these different forms, you don't have somebody messaging and emailing and texting, there are technologies out there right now that you can do that for free. All you need is a list. You literally upload it and you type a 2-minute text, and next thing you know, on Friday, you're giving updates and you're getting 4 leads over the weekend.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, man, you mentioned Agent Legend a couple of times. I'll toot my own horn. Our LO acceleration system does everything in there and more. That if you were, from social media posting to power dialing to the automated emails to the automated text messages to the voicemail drops, you could put up there, you could get that list, get 5,000 people, break it up over the course of 5 days, and we're going to get a lot of people telling you to go jump in a lake, right? But you're going to get that opportunity to have those conversations, right? And I think it was Wade Betts was telling
me to jump in the lake. They're telling an AI to jump in the lake.
Right. But Wade Betts was telling me that his numbers are something like for every agent that he meets with, he can convert 30% without doing much, just having a conversation, right? Like 3 out of 10 will agree to work with him. And just from engaging and then connecting and hitting it off and say, yeah, this will be a good fit. And that number goes up to closer to 50% with like a consistent follow-up campaign where you're staying in front of them, you're providing value, you're inviting them to classes, you're sharing content with them. You're not just calling them up and asking them for business every Monday type of thing. So if you think about that, if you can put those numbers right there, if you can meet, if you're struggling, if you can find a way to meet with 10 people just a month, following Stephen's plan, he just told you what to do, 10 people a month for the next 90 days, you'll wind up with 9 agents, right? 9 to 10 agents. If you can get 1 deal a quarter, you're at 40 deals, you're closing 8 to 10 million, right?
Yeah.
And let me business coming out of a refi world. If you've never done purchases before, over the next 90 days, you can set yourself up for the future.
Yeah. And I just guys, if you don't know what I'm talking about, you need to go hire a coach. That is one of the best things I ever did. TJ, you were a coach to me in the beginning. Fish, you've coached me. Join Leads Academy. Go join Marketing Animals. There's a recorded webinar library. All you did it for 3 months and just follow 30% of what they tell you to do. Handwritten cards. I mean, they tell you all these things. Just do it. They'll create the webinar for you. All you got to do is share it. Hammer, he'll create the content. Just give him the list. You'll do it on your system. You'll run ads and throw it into a do it for you type program. I mean, I'm going to get back to it. Imperfect Action. There's so many people that'll help you, but if you're not taking the action to do it and ask for it, then you're missing out, because this is the tree that I've ever seen. And there's just so much potential. It's unbelievable.
Awesome. Cool. Good stuff. Well, hey man, we appreciate you. Again, we're really proud, as little as that may mean, right? We're so proud of you, from when we first spoke to you, where you were, to see where you've come over the last, 4 or 5 years. Just again, we're proud. We're excited to be, have a small, very, very small part of it, man. And we just love watching your journey and your success every single day.
Well, hey, I watch y'all every day. Fish, thank you for being in the industry and having a platform we can go talk and make friends. And obviously I just joined your veteran group, and I look forward to seeing you at the future meetings. But thank you both. I mean, this is what it's all about: making friends and help her out, paying it forward. And you got our industry. So thank you.
Appreciate you, buddy.
Yeah.
Thanks, guys.
Right,
We'll post this replay back in the group. Some of you asked about, joined late. We'll post the replay later today. So appreciate you all. And, if you have any questions for TJ about Leeds Academy, you can just message him or what have you. So
you guys did me too. Yeah.
Thanks, guys.
So,
Appreciate it.
Hey, and everyone, look, Fish and I, it's our annual resolution, right? We're dedicated to getting this content back up at least twice a month in MLO net, at least twice a month. So we're usually good until about March. But once that spring market hits, everything goes to shit. But so really in 2022, we were focused on consistently bringing content, great guests like Steven on here just to share with you, to help you out. So, and again, we appreciate everybody for being patient with us. One of these years we'll deliver all the way through the year. This is the year, right, Fish?